Hello there, and welcome to Sweet Shot of Time. I'm your host, Steve Barnes, and today we're still in the midst of Time Bandits. We're at the beginning of our Time Bandits journey here. We haven't even done episode 1 yet, and I'm on my second interview with a Time Bandits crew member here. You might consider this guy a Time Bandit because he did dress as a Time Bandit and he performed as a Time Bandit. He was Rune Temte's stunt double. He's a stunt man from New Zealand. He's with us today, and I'm so excited. So I've got to say a big ahoy there to Brandon Herbert. Ahoy, Brandon!
G'day, how we going?
Hey, man, how you doing today in New Zealand?
Yeah, great. It's nearly 10 p.m. in the evening. Had a long day today, which is always good, and yeah, excited to be on the show and having a yarn to you, and it's great.
Did you have a long day today doing stunts? Were
Yeah,
you
correct.
stunting today?
Yep. So I'm working on a series at the moment that unfortunately can't talk about, but it's going to
Okay.
be great. It's going to be real good. I'm excited for this one to come out, and we've put in a lot of hard work in, and it should be real good.
Yeah, cool. I've never talked to a stunt person before. Believe it or not, it just never has happened.
Yeah,
And at first I was like, "Oh, I hope I can come up with enough questions to ask him." As soon as I started thinking of questions, they just kept popping off because it's like a fascinating industry.
yeah,
Um, so I mean, I hope I do my due diligence of getting into all the nitty-gritty of what you're doing.
yeah.
So I guess the first question is, when I was a kid, me and my best friend at the time would love to. I mean, we were fascinated by action movies and stuff, and we wanted to be stuntmen too. And we did karate and jumped off roofs onto mattresses and things that little kids do.
Yeah.
But then we stopped. You did not stop. You kept going with it. So I think like some of our younger listeners want to know like what's the key to like sticking with it? How did you even begin and go into it?
Yeah, so that's a great question. For me, I remember when I was younger. Funnily enough, it's the same thing. I remember throwing myself around, going, "Oh, I'd love to be a stuntman," and that always stuck with me for a while, and then it kind of disappeared out of my mind. Um,
Okay.
and then as my life continued, I started boxing from a young age. Got into security. Served in the military briefly in the UK. So I had started accumulating all of these trainings and disciplines, and I formulated these skills to get into stunts, and I started applying them for film and for camera, which was great because I feel like those skills haven't been wasted. All that time training in those different disciplines are being put to use, which is great.
You're not afraid of getting hurt, it seems. And so, was there a way that you had to kind of conquer that fear?
Yes. I don't think you can ever, you can fully conquer it. It's just how you channel that in your mind. Fear isn't real. It's something you believe in. I just don't choose to believe in it.
Okay.
But danger is very much real.
Yes.
But it's assessing and then brainstorming, considering what's next make this decision. So that works in the same with stunts. Everything is. We train in what we do. So we assess everything. We consider all the dangers and everything. We eliminate them. Obviously, you can never fully eliminate them completely,
Right.
but we train in those areas. So by the time we do the stunts, we know what we're doing. Yeah, we feel pretty confident at the time. Mainly, as well, Steve, the confidence is in the stunt team too. So it's not just yourself in front of the camera; it's the people that are
Sure,
behind the
okay.
camera, your stunt team that have got your back. That gives
That's
you
good
that
to hear.
confidence. Yeah,
Yeah, teamwork. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I've looked at like your Instagram and looked at a lot of your posts, and it seems like you're kind of like an individual. And so I kind of got the sense that you were like a singular man, but you're
yeah,
not. You're part of a team, so you need to depend on the other
definitely
team.
so. I mean, it's definitely the way I carry myself a little bit more like that. But it's definitely not how it works on a job, for sure.
Right. Okay.
I definitely carry myself more as an individual like that. But when you come to a job, it's very much the complete opposite. It's very team orientated, and Time Bandits is a really good example of that. Due to most of our stunts on that show were in a harness and on wire work.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
so that there's a lot of people that come into play there, and you are relying on your team. Sometimes your life can be in their hands. So um, yeah, that's definitely the case on this job especially, but most jobs.
You're a stunt performer, as I mentioned, for Rune, who
Yeah,
plays Bittelig.
Bittelig,
But
yeah.
you guys seems like y'all it seems like the group of Time Bandits are always in a group. It's never like you see like one by themselves. So when you guys did stunts, were y'all stunting like as a team?
Yes, so pretty much majority of the time we were doing the stunts as the lead doubles and the other bandits, their stunt doubles. We would do them all together. So we basically had another, you know, exact bandit crew of
Mhm.
stunties,
Yeah.
the actors, and we had this really tight knit crew, and it was quite a special thing. And like the bandits, they are so individually different. And
Yeah.
as stunt performers and personality wise, we were very much like that. So it was quite funny
Sure.
because it was very much, a Time Bandit crew from a stunt perspective, and everyone was different. It was great.
Is that hard to like actually perform like a stunt, like doing the actual stunt itself, like with a bunch of other stunt performers around you? Or do you prefer to like be like the one guy, the camera's just on you doing your stunt?
No, I mean that's a difficult question because
Oh,
um,
sorry.
sometimes when you've got multiple people in a shot, there's a lot of moving parts, and if
Exactly.
one moving part for it potentially to go wrong, you've got to reshoot it. Um, but no, we worked really well as a team, and some of the bigger stunts they were filmed individually and then put together. Um, but for the majority of the time, we all filmed together, and we all, kind of knew how we worked, how we moved, and like I say, most of the time we spent a lot of time in a wire. So it was
Mhm.
feeling, how everyone moved in a wire, and also getting to know our riggers too on our lines. So the people that look after us on the wire, so our stunt riggers.
Oh, I see, okay, kinda like the ballet, I guess you would call that when you're doing rock
Yeah,
climbing,
yeah.
the same thing.
So it's also really important to get to know them when you're on a wire, and have that
Oh,
eye contact and get to know how they work. Um,
have you ever had to deal with an individual like that that wasn't paying attention on their job and
no, no, not yet. No,
good,
hopefully not.
okay. I mean, every workplace has their slackers and people who aren't doing their job, so I would hope that the stunt guys are
Yeah,
not those people.
no, you would know, not usually. So yeah, hopefully we don't come across that.
I'm gonna back up now,
Yeah, cool.
you brought up Time Bandits, it's your fault that I started talking about Time Bandits early, it's okay.
Okay.
Um, do you remember, like, what maybe, like, your first, on-camera gig might have been?
Yes, as a stunt performer, it was on Avatar. That was my
Okay,
first,
like the first movie Avatar?
the second movie.
Okay, great, and how did you even that was pretty recent, so how did you come
That
upon
was
that job?
2019.
Mhm,
So that was when I got into stunts. Yeah,
interesting. Looking at your resume, I would think you've been in it much longer than that, so it's very impressive. So
yeah.
how did you even, get your foot in the door there?
So I started a YouTube channel years ago, an adventure YouTube channel. When I came to New Zealand from the
Shout it
UK.
out, say the name of it.
Brotherhood Adventures was the.
Yes,
It's still up. It's still up there on YouTube.
I've
Um,
looked at it.
yeah, I don't do much anymore. Unfortunately, I got kids now, so having spare time is a rare thing. But I loved it.
Okay.
I love getting outdoors. I'm an outdoors person. Mountaineering. I love getting up in the mountains, snowboarding, skiing,
Oh,
caving.
cool.
Everything.
Skateboarding? Are you I know you don't skateboard in the snow, but do you skateboard at all?
I did when I was younger. Yeah, I did when I was younger,
Great.
and then unfortunately I got over 100 kgs, and trying to stand on a board and balance becomes a bit more difficult. Not being an excuse, but
That's
I'm
true.
going to go with it.
Yeah, I'm a skateboarder myself, and, like, as I started getting heavy I'm not, like, heavy, but as I got heavier, it was harder to skate.
Yeah.
Um, it's interesting because when I looked up Brandon Herbert, and to find you, very initially, Did you know that there's like a multitude of Brandon Herberts that are like action-oriented guys?
Oh,
You know,
really?
yeah, I mean, you stand out, of course, but of course, you're a stuntman. There's a professional skateboarder, there's an MMA fighter, a football slash soccer player, a
Yeah.
basketball player, and a bodybuilding coach, all named Brandon Herbert, who spell their name exactly like you. And so
Brilliant.
at first, I thought that was all you.
Oh, yeah,
So it's
yeah,
good to hear that you're a skateboarder. I like that.
yeah. Cool. Oh, that's funny. Brilliant.
I mean, of course, Avatar. I mean, you did stunts on that, and were you painted blue while you had to do your stunts?
No, no. So I done some of the soldier stuff, which was real cool.
I forget about that. I think about Avatar. I think about the blue planet. I forget that
Yeah,
they were on Earth
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. So that was that was great. Really enjoyed it. And then I just kind of yeah got into it from there. And then it was basically like I mentioned before. It was just applying those fundamentals from my previous trainings and skills, and just applying those and adapting them to film. Um, for example, boxing. That's my fighting
Right.
background and advanced physical intervention. Um, but in boxing, everything's quite tight knit and close. Throw straight punches. Everything's tight. Where in the for camera and in the film industry, we exaggerate it all, so everything becomes wider. So it almost becomes a little bit sloppier in
Right.
some things. And you picture the three heads, and you're punching the three heads, and that's what makes it look the way it does on camera. So, like I say, the skills were already there when I got into it. It was just applying those um, for camera. Yeah,
That's interesting. I mean, I didn't know that. I'm the kind of person that will watch a film or a TV show, and I might think to myself, "Oh, there are, that's not the way you really do that," or that looks exaggerated. And I guess that's why, because they want to convey that image to like a non-boxer who most people are not boxers. We got to admit that. So I guess it has to look cool on film for it to like, hit.
yeah, yeah, and it has to be able to sell. So it's all about the camera angle for a punch. Because we don't actually
Sure.
punch each other. I hate to tell
Of
you.
course.
Um,
It happens though, right? Don't people
oh, for sure.
accidentally?
Yeah, yeah, yep. If you get too close, you get too excited on the day. It can definitely happen. Um, but the aim is not to. Um, you know.
Sure. I mean, I've heard stories of stunt persons on films that like where an accident will happen and that's actually the take that they will use because it looks the best and it has the best reaction.
Yeah, yeah.
There's like a horror film I'm thinking of where somebody like went to stab somebody and like the tip of the knife actually went into the person and they like reacted really big and that's the what they used in
To
the
take.
film,
Well, makes sense. Yeah,
which is
you wouldn't want to do
unfortunate.
too many takes, though, would you?
No, you would not. Um, and that makes me think back to the old school days of like in America here, where we got the Hollywood old school golden age of stunts, where the stunt guys would
Yeah,
there was no safety involved. They would be wild, and there would be a lot of breaking legs, and you would hear stories. There's a James Bond story about a guy who ran over 3 alligators in order to, like, get to the other side of a
yeah,
bank. This
in
was
there.
I can't remember what movie that was, but he
Yeah,
did that 6 times, just by himself, ran over top of 3 alligators. Do you think that if let's put you back in time, let's say, you're born back in 1940,
yeah,
do you think you could hang in that kind of environment?
100%. Yeah,
Ah,
a
heck
hundred
yeah.
percent. I would love to be born back then. And yeah, definitely. You know,
Is it like the enticement of danger or just kinda like the no holds barred? What's
just the
the appeal?
old school way of thinking. Just the old school way of thinking.
Once you got that nice credit to your name, did you start finding more roles after that point?
Yeah, then it was just a case of really continue training and applying those fundamentals. And then it was just meeting stunt coordinators, working with different stunt coordinators. And then, yeah, a couple of years back, yeah, I went down and to Wellington. They were looking for a stunt double for Rune. I went down there and I met Zoe Bell, who was a stunt coordinator, who's amazing. Also Dana Grant, and yeah, they offered me the role to be Rune's stunt double, which was awesome.
I mean, you are Bittelig, so
Bittelig,
you know
yeah,
you can take that take
yeah,
that
Bittelig.
title.
And yeah, it was great. And Rune's awesome, man. You know.
He told me that he because I asked him a little bit about stunts just briefly, and he mentioned that he twisted his knee at some point. So I think
Yeah,
you had to do some extra work for him that you normally wouldn't have had to do.
yeah, a bit of extra running, but that's all right.
So does that mean
Yeah.
like you were dressed up and running with like the real cast in his
Yeah, the
place?
real cast that happened a couple of times from different camera angles and stuff. They could get away with me doing the running, and when they really needed to, he did. Um, but yeah, that was a minimum ask really. Um, yeah,
That's fun.
I was always happy to step in when he needed me to. I mean, he's a very capable man. Like he's fit, he's strong, but yeah, he just got a slight twist in his knee that earlier on in the shoot, and out on and running around I went.
So that makes me think, like, first off, that you're probably the same size as Rune, I suppose, if you're able to
Yeah.
stand in to be a stunt double. So that means
So
they had to get other stunt.
Rune's 6'3", I think, and
Mhm.
from memory, I'm just 6'2". So height wise, he's slightly taller. Um, you wouldn't really notice unless we're standing directly next to each other. You can see the slight height difference. And weight wise, when I was filming on Bandits, I was about 106 kgs. I can't remember what Rune was, but build wise, very much similar. Um, yeah, so and occasionally, if it really needed, I put a small step in my shoe and brought me up to exactly his height. Um,
I do that too sometimes. Yeah, I'm a short guy, so it happens occasionally.
yeah,
So
brilliant.
that's interesting because when I think of a stunt person, you're pretty much what I think of. But we had to have a stunt performer for Kevin and for, Lisa
Yeah,
Kudrow and
yeah,
for Charlene Yee. So you had to
yeah.
have all these different size and shape stunt
Right.
performers. So is every stunt person just as capable as the next, or are there different limitations with
Oh,
sizes?
everyone's different. Everyone has different trainings. Everyone has different backgrounds. I'm not the most flexible person in the world. That's probably my downside. That's where I don't train as much. I don't do a ridiculous amount of stretching and as
Mm.
much as I should do. Judy's Charlene stunt double. Wow, she can basically fold herself in half. she, you know, she knows how to move. Um,
That's
so
just
everyone,
interesting to me because I mean, I'll go over some of like your the things that you can do. You're a horse stunt person. You
yeah,
do driving,
yeah,
boxing, as you mentioned.
yeah.
Um, I was just trying to imagine like children trying to keep up with you, but I guess they generally don't use children for stunt performers. They probably just use shorter individuals. Is that
No,
right?
for kids to be doubled, they're called acrobatic doubles.
Okay.
And we actually got Zoe, the stunt coordinator, and Clint Elvey, who's assistant stunt coordinator. They found a young boy called Liam, who done a fantastic job. He's a gymnast, and he stepped in when Kevin needed to be on the wire or
Hmm.
anything. But Kevin was very capable. Khalil, he's very capable himself anyway. I mean, but unfortunately, he can't always be doing all the fun stuff and doing all the stunts. He's got lines to do. He's got acting to do. So yeah, that's when our
Right.
acrobatic double stepped in, and Liam, he done a fantastic job. He's great. Standing there doing backflips, and he was awesome.
That leads me to like the question I was going to ask before, and I was trying to decide which question to ask. So, you say that Runa is very capable of doing his own stunts and Kevin as well. Is there ever a situation where the actor is insistent on trying to do their own stunt and it causes like any kind of conflict?
I would say majority of the time the actors will try and do their own stunts.
Majority of the time.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I find that a lot of actors want to do their own stunts. They're keen to do it. Um, but it's not always it's not always possible. But a lot of people will try. But but also there's a lot of them know their limitations too. So some days, we have some quite boring days where we're just on standby, ready to step on.
Right.
Or some days we have really busy days. Um, it can really fluctuate.
Yeah, can you walk us through like what like your average busy day would be like from like what time you wake up and what kind of things you do throughout the day?
Yeah. For example, my average day on Time Bandits was I'd always have an early call time because I had to get a full wig piece, 4-piece beard, so moustache, the beard
Oh,
put
that's
on.
right. You're clean
Um,
shaven and your character has a beard. How
yeah,
long does that take to put that on?
that took. I think the full process was about an hour and a half. Yeah, I was not a fan of the wig or the beard.
Sure.
I didn't mind it the first month, and then it just got. I got over it quite quickly. There's a lot of glue. There's a lot of glue, and I'm one of those dudes that don't like sun cream on their skin. So the
Yeah,
glue, I got over
exactly.
it. But you persevere. So that would be the start of my morning. Go through costume,
Okay.
and then on a busy day, um, you know, we'd be rehearsing throughout the day, and then we'd be called on to set. Um, to do our rigs, and we
Rehearsing.
do.
So like as opposed to like sitting around and just drinking coffee and waiting, y'all are actually doing stuff and
Yeah, yeah,
practicing
yeah,
while
yeah,
you're doing
yep,
it.
yep, yep, yep. So, okay, we definitely do a bit of that too. There's no doubt about that. But we do try to utilize that time, that's free time, to either prep for another um, uh, uh, stunt gig we got coming up, or or we're on set. So, yeah, there's a lot of that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Time Bandits was like 10 episodes long, and I got the sense that it was about a 6-month shoot. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, I think I remember being there about 6.5, 7 months.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a long time, and yeah, I mean, so I got to say big thanks to my wife because at the time we just had Elwyn, which was my second. Um,
Oh,
no,
a
my third.
newborn.
Sorry, my third. That was my third, um,
Wow.
and she was only 4 months old when I went down to start filming Time Bandits, and
Holy cow.
and that's about a 7-hour drive from my house. So yeah, no, she's done amazing to be able to look after the kids. I drove back every week home, done that drive, and come home, saw the kids and my wife, and which was great. But it was still a lot on her, so a big shout out to her for doing that and making it possible for me
Absolutely.
to do that. So
You're a lucky dude that you're still alive right now. That's great. Well, I
yeah,
didn't even picture that. That leads to other questions, of course. Like, so you said this is your third kid, right?
yeah. So we've got 4 in total, but that was when I had my third. Yeah, just after I had my third, we started shooting.
Are your other children that are older, are they aware of what you do?
Yep, they are. Yes, Stephen, my oldest, yeah,
Did you
he
say
thinks it's
Steven?
pretty cool. Stephen, yeah,
That's
Steve.
my name.
Yeah, I know. Brilliant. What are the chances, eh? Um, yeah, he thinks it's awesome. Yeah, he enjoys it. But I think he gets overhearing about it sometimes. I'll come home and go, we done this, done this, done that. He's like, oh yeah, cool. It's become the norm for him, I think. Um, but
Doesn't
my
that suck?
girls, my
I
but my
hate that.
girls are always fascinated. They're always fascinated. They're like, oh, what are you doing in your movie? What are you doing? Or, yeah, they ask me questions, which is cool. So it was really cool to watch the first 2 episodes. Last
Sure.
week, my wife organised a bit of a get together here in my apartment up here in Auckland,
Oh, heck
and
yeah.
she got the other stunt doubles, so all us bandits were here, and we watched the first 2 episodes all together with my kids, which was great, and my wife, and my 2 girls. They watched both episodes. They sat through both of them, and they really enjoyed it. So that was amazing. So that was a really nice feeling, sitting there and them watching it and enjoying it.
That's what I wanted to hear. When I was talking to Runa, I was asking him the same question. He was like, "I don't know. I'll watch it with my wife, I guess." And
Yeah.
I was like, "You gotta have a watch party. Get everybody together and
Oh,
show
we
it
most
off."
definitely did.
That's
And
great.
my wife actually organised a. Well, she sorted it, but we actually got a poster. She actually got a poster up here on the wall with us doubles.
I love that. That is great. You look
Yeah.
great in that picture, by the way.
Yeah. Cheers. She organised all that, and that was great. And yeah, we had a bit of a watch party here, all the doubles.
That's really cool that you guys are still doing your thing, and I don't know, have you worked with any of those stunt individuals in previous projects, or do you think you'll work with them in
No,
the
but I'm
future?
working with. I've worked with a couple of them since um, on different projects, which has been cool. So I have worked with them since on different jobs, and we've become quite close. A tight net of bandits, you could say.
Are y'all all New Zealanders? Is everybody from the stunt crew from New Zealand?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everyone is from New Zealand. Obviously, I'm
Interesting.
originally from the UK, um, but
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, everyone is, which is
Okay,
pretty
so
neat.
English. I thought you spoke excellent English, so I suppose English is your first language then, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what I was expecting because, when I talk to some people, like, English is not their first language, and
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know, I was like, "He's doing great."
Yeah. Well, that's a bonus. My mum would be so proud.
Yes, she would be, she should be. When I think of New Zealand personally as an American, because I'm not a very well-traveled person, except, like, within America. So
Yeah.
New Zealand to me is Flight of the Conchords. That's the first thing I think of is
Yeah.
Jermaine Clement's band because that
Yeah.
was my and I mean, I've known New Zealand was a country since I was a child, but that was my first thing that I associated with New Zealand, and that's what I think of now because I adore that show.
Yeah.
And so when I found out he was being part of Time Bandits, it was I mean, that was like my way in. I was like, I love the movie. Jermaine is part of it, so that's gonna be great. So
Yeah.
far, I'm correct.
Yeah.
Um, am I wrong in that? Is there something else about New Zealand that I should be focusing on besides Flight
Well,
of the Conchords?
Lord of the Rings,
Lord of the Rings, of course. Yes, I forgot that Peter Jackson filmed it all there,
The
right?
Hobbit.
Okay,
It was
thank you
those
very
movies that
much.
actually brought me to New Zealand.
Oh, really? Did you work on
Yeah.
those movies?
Yeah, I
Oh, I
was a
didn't know
huge
that.
fan of those movies and the book also. And when those movies came out, I was like, no way, is this a real country? And my dad actually was like, that's a real country, mate. I was like, wow, I'm going to go there one day. And so I arrived in New Zealand, and not long after I met my wife, a couple of months after I met my wife, and yeah, the rest is history. Now I'm here for good.
Right on. So wait, that was after 2019 that you worked on those projects?
That was I came here in 2015.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Man, I wish I was prepared for that because I'm not. That's interesting. I'm a fantasy guy myself.
yeah.
My co-host was actually like took Lord of the Ring classes in school. I don't know how he did that,
All
but he
right.
did.
Yeah,
That's something they offer in weird high schools around here.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, are you familiar with the Wheel of Time in that case? Then another fantasy
No, I'm
series.
not. But I've worked with the director who directed a couple of the episodes. I think not long ago. So I do need to watch it because a lot of people have said it's quite good. So I definitely will watch it.
Or read it. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic book series too.
Right.
I'm always, like, in the chapter of the Wheel of Time at some point.
Yeah.
And one of the actors, Hamad Animation, who played King Mesa Musa,
Oh yeah.
very large black individual,
Yeah.
he's, one of the regulars of Wheel of Time as well.
Oh right. Okay. Yeah. I
So
never met
and,
the actor when he was down. So yeah, I didn't actually get to meet him.
oh, okay. I mean, his last name is Animation, and he's a very animated person. His, like,
Yeah.
name suits him very well. So yeah, the average day of a stuntman sounds interesting. How about the average day of Brandon? Like when you're not doing stunts, what kind of things are you doing when you're not being a stunt performer?
So when stunts isn't always guaranteed work. It fluctuates. With different productions coming in and out of New
Sure.
Zealand, or we just had that strike, so that so work was down here for a while. So not when I'm not doing stunts, I own a construction company here in New Zealand, a small construction company called Brotherhood Builders, and I've got a really great team, amazing team. Big shout out to those guys. And they run things when I'm away on film jobs.
Right. You were
So
gone for 7 months, and they did their thing for 7 months while you were
yeah,
gone?
yeah, they did their thing. They kept everything going and done a good job. So that's what I do when I'm not doing stunts. So I like to be on the tools myself. I still like to jump on. I'm a practical person, so I like to get my tool belt on and start cutting some wood and do what I do, man. It's
Yeah.
yeah. So
Did
this.
that worry you when you were gone for 7 months?
Oh, I
Did you have
was
any
yes, definitely
concerns that
stressful. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, good to hear.
Yeah,
Alright, you
definitely
seem
stressful.
like a very
Uh,
confident individual. I'm like, "Don't you have any worries?"
um, yeah, I trust my team 100%. I mean, everyone's incredible. I've been fortunate that I've had some quite big projects going the last few years that
Yeah.
everyone's just been kind of nestled into, and and head down and just cracked on with it. It's when we're doing smaller jobs and everyone's jumping around, and it becomes a little bit more stressful for sure. But we've had some big jobs. We've built some really nice places here in New Zealand. We just worked on a place at the Waikato Uni here called the Pa. It's beautiful. The Prime Minister opened the building. It's really quite stunning. And we spent 2 years on that project, which was really cool.
Oh,
Um,
neat.
yeah.
Well, being a stunt person, obviously people wanna ask about injuries because they happen. Have you experienced any injuries, like, on set of any of your projects?
I have actually been really lucky and fortunate that I haven't yet touched
Oh,
wood.
where's the
Um,
wood? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Here we go. Um, but no, the closest thing to an injury I've had, which was very minor, where once again I didn't warm up and stretch enough
Gotcha.
before I went on to set. Sometimes we can get a 15-20 minute warning. Sometimes it's like you need it now. And it was just a simple head cell, and I think I had a bit of tension in my trap, and I just tore my trap. Um, and that's just a good reason why you should always warm up.
Have you
But that's
witnessed anybody else, like, have any kind of,
no, I
bad
haven't. I haven't
oh, that's good to hear, I like this.
yeah, and it's all minor stuff, scrapes and bumps. Um, which is great. It means that's what the rehearsals for. That's why we do rehearsals, and we spend hours and hours and hours rehearsing, for that reason. So
It's
everyone should know what they're doing. Everyone should be confident and comfortable by the time we start filming.
that's not good for stories or for podcasts, but for reality, it's great to hear that you're that you're in good shape and that not a lot of injuries are
Yeah,
happening.
I'm sorry to be such a bore.
You're not at all. This is
I'll tell you what
wonderful. I
I'll
love
do.
it.
I'll do a little bit worse, and we'll do one in a year's time and see if I've got anything better for you.
Okay. Okay, you're trained, like you say, you don't do a lot of stretching, but you're definitely trained to like
Yeah,
take some impact, and you're very well trained in first aid and things like that too.
yeah,
Have these
yeah.
skills ever come in handy, like during any kind of
Yep.
maybe some children situations or outside of
Oh,
work?
for sure. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Believe it or not, the funny story was that I actually done all my first aid certificates and trainings, and the following week my daughter choked on a sausage that we cut up, and I straight away knew
Yikes.
what to do, and it actually saved her life. So that was like meant to be. Yeah,
Yeah,
incredible.
exactly.
Um,
Holy cow. How old was she at the time?
she was maybe a year and a half old. Yeah, and I
First
knew
aid is
exactly
so
what to
hard
do.
on children. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew exactly what to do. It was great. Yeah, so that's definitely come in handy. Um, but yeah, for training wise, when I'm at home and I'm not away on a job or working away, um, I've got a gym at home called the Wild Goat, and I teach boxing out of there once a week on Tuesdays, and we do
Wow.
weightlifting on Thursdays. So yeah, it's a fully kitted out gym, um, which is really cool. So I keep up my training. I like routine, and I do a lot of training throughout the week. Yeah, I train 5 days a week if I can. But
Yeah.
yeah, I teach boxing Tuesdays and do weightlifting on Thursdays. And I live quite rural. I love it. It's beautiful. I'm not a city person. Um, so we live quite nice and rural. So we get the local farmers come over and do a bit of training. And of course there's a bar in the gym. So we have a beer at the bar after we.
Preparation.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
And
so
you say you're rural. I'm looking over your shoulder at a city there. So
yeah.
I
Well,
guess you're not at
I'm
home
in
right now.
Auckland at the moment.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, this is the my apartment up here in Auckland, um, and I go home on the weekends. Yeah.
Very busy. Is there any quiet contemplative times, or do you always
Oh,
want to be on the go?
I'm a big hunter, so when I get
Oh,
some
okay.
free time, I do like to get out into the bush and hunt. Um, and my wife and kids love venison, so it works for me.
Well, that's a little bit of both worlds then, because you're hunting, so you're doing something active, but you're
Yeah.
also probably a lot of quiet times and a lot of thinking in there too, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's definitely, it's my little happy place, the peace and quiet and nature and just the sounds. And yeah, yeah, it's great. That's definitely my happy place.
Cool. And like speaking of animals, this leads me right to like the main thing I wanted to ask you about is the horse training and
Yeah.
that you do some horse stuff. So I didn't see any horses yet on Time Bandits. Are the Time Bandits going to get on horses at any point? That's my first question.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. We definitely had horses on set. You'll see throughout the episodes, so there definitely are
Cool.
horses throughout the show. Um, but yeah, that's a good question because I'll have to pass on that because I don't know. But that would be really cool. What would be cool is if they went
Uh,
through a portal on horseback.
that would be very neat. That'd be cool to see that. I hope we get to see that on the show. Sounds like interesting. I've only seen one episode, so I don't know. You wouldn't know either, would you?
No.
See, that's what fascinated me about Time Bandits when I was a kid was those portals. That's the first thing that
Yeah,
really got my imagination going as a little 9-year-old kid was like watching those time portals open up and go
yeah,
through
yeah,
them. So in the Time Bandits movie, they run into them and then they run out of them. You don't see what's inside. So in the TV show, they show us like what's inside those portals. Did you get to do any of that filming? I know that you weren't actually inside of a time portal. I'm aware of that.
yeah.
But did you do like any of that fast-paced filming where they like zoom across from one spot to the next?
Yeah, so like a lot of the portals, um, we just had to, we'd done somewhat on location, with a ton in the studio. It was very much kind of imagine where it is and run and jump through. Um, and a lot of it was we were in a wire in a harness. So um, it was wherever the wire took us, basically. That would be, you know. Um,
Okay.
so there was a really good stunt in the first episode where we all done a wire wrap into the snow. We come out of a portal. We got shot out of a portal, and we in all different kind of shapes, and we landed in the snow. That was a real fun one to do.
Okay,
Um,
I don't think that was in the first episode because there was no snow in the first episode, but I guess that was
it
like
might
one
have
of the
been the
first
second
ones on
episode
board.
then.
Okay,
Um,
all right.
yeah, might have been the second episode. Um, but yeah, it
I
was
hope
when
have you
they see the Nearthandle. Was it? When was it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the second episode.
it
Yeah.
had to have been because I haven't seen any snow at this
Okay.
point yet. It's all
So
been
when
nice
you
and
watch the
sunny.
second episode,
Hmm?
you will see it.
It's available now on Apple TV to
It
watch for
surely
everyone.
is.
That's
It
right.
surely is. Yeah.
So horse stunts, of course, like part of being a horse stunt person is just simply riding the horse and being an adapt rider.
Yeah.
But I know that like TV and movies, they do stuff like the horse falls down and the guy falls down too. Have you been part of any horse falls?
Yeah. Yeah. So we've done a lot. Done quite a bit of training in those areas. There's a
When you
woman
train,
here.
you actually have to do it with the horse, though, right? You actually have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
fall
hundred
down.
percent, 100%. So even being dragged by horses, and there's a woman here in New Zealand that has some great stunt horses, and yeah, she does a lot of trainings in those different areas too. So yeah, it's definitely very much an area that you need to train in. You can't just kind of just know how to ride if you want to do those kind of stunts.
I don't. So from my perspective, I have a dog and we do like little training with our dog. So you say, come here, go there.
Yeah,
Is a horse responsive to those type of commands, or how does it know to fall down and get back up and stuff?
the horses for film are extremely well trained. You know, so in theory, a horse in the film industry, an actor should be able to just jump on, and the horse is pretty much knows what's going on. Um, so yeah, they're really well trained. They're not your stock standard horse. So yeah, I mean, it's yes, you need to know how to ride, but also you need to know how to fall off safely.
I
And noise is a big thing too. You get a horse on a film set that's got, for example, guns going off or something. The first thing it's going to do is bolt. Where a horse is trained in the film industry, it's you got a lot of noise going on. It's going to probably be pretty chill.
Okay. Wow. I've rid horses before and been around them, but I just could not imagine being part of like one falling down or trying to direct it to do interesting things like that. It just seems like a foreign concept to me. So it's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I love horses. I mean, I used to ride when I was younger, when I was in the UK, and then I stopped for years, and then I
Mm.
started riding again when I came to New Zealand, and yeah, and especially where we live, there's some beautiful horse tracks. Yeah, it's really something. Um, so if you ever come to New Zealand and you want to do some horse riding,
Yeah.
I've got some good contacts.
Okay. I don't know when that's going to be happening. I'll check my itinerary. It might be soon. My niece is a horse rider. She does jumps and stuff like that on horses. Lindsay, I'll shout out my niece Lindsay because she's a horse person too. But I don't think she's ever fallen down on a horse. I think she just mostly rides them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, well, yeah. A lot of people who ride have fallen off many times. They just didn't do it intentionally.
yeah, I was asking about actors who like to do their own stunts, and
Yeah,
you said that's a very common thing that actors will do like as much as they can. I wasn't aware of that. So like when I see like a famous American actor like Tom Cruise, he famously likes to do his own stunts, but very, very dangerous stunts is
yeah,
what he's
yeah,
doing.
yeah,
Riding motorcycles off of stuff. I have an opinion of that. I'll share my opinion first off before I even make you give your opinion because I don't want to put you on the spot. My opinion is that, Tom Cruise is the star of the movie and most of the money probably goes to him to secure him because he's the draw of the movie. Like people say there's a new Tom Cruise movie they want to go. So like of course, he's the draw. So it seems to me that it's a very unwise move to put him in danger where he could hurt himself or even worse. And it seems like some of the stunts he's doing are very dangerous.
yeah,
Is that the kind of stuff a stunt person I think that's the kind of stuff a stunt person should be doing, and Tom Cruise should let them do it. That's my opinion. Do you have a different opinion about that?
if I'm honest, I just think Tom Cruise is the man. I mean, he's a great actor, and the fact that he does all his own stunts to that extreme is awesome. I think
I
it's
mean,
great.
it is.
Um, and yeah, I've actually met Tom Cruise. I actually was part of his security years ago over in the UK,
Oh, neat.
and I met him. I got to chat to him very briefly, and
Okay.
he was a really, really nice guy. So I've got a lot of time for Tom Cruise. Yeah, yeah, and I think his stunts are awesome. You know,
You can't deny it that they're great, and, like, I've
yeah,
seen the thing where he, like, runs on a broken ankle and he keeps doing the stunt anyway to, like, jump
yeah,
into a helicopter, and so my first thought is, "Why are you doing that, Tom? You're, like, older than me." And there's some young, capable stunt guys who would love to do that stuff too.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know, that's just
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have the opportunity to do those kind of stunts. 100%. You know, but maybe maybe he's the kind of guy that enjoys that adrenaline too. Maybe he wants to be the stunt guy, but he can also act. You know, and he produces and directs, and if you want to, if you enjoy it, why not do it all?
I guess that's true, but I'm just thinking about the risk factor. Like if something went wrong and like, oh, we got to shut down set for 2 weeks while Tom heals from his injury, and that would
Yeah,
like cause thousands of people to be sitting on their hands.
yeah,
That's what I think of is like what could go wrong. And then I'm thinking about like there's probably, Tom Cruise is no matter what he's doing, there's going to be a stunt double. Even if he's doing all his own stunts, there's going to be a backup guy there that's getting paid to like jump in if he needs to. So it's not like anybody's out of a job because Tom's doing
yeah.
2 jobs. I just imagine that other stunt person is bored and like, "Oh, I guess I'm not doing anything today because Tom's doing it all."
It's either that or he's got the best job in the world. He's getting paid to
Depends on how you
watch
look at
someone
it.
else do the stunts. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should get him on the show and have a yarn. That
Is
would be
there
really
anything
good.
like is there anything that you, because some actors can and can't do certain things. Is there any stunts or things that you could never imagine doing?
Never imagined doing.
Like, maybe, like, some water or some air stuff or I don't know. I can think of a lot of things that I could never
Yeah,
imagine doing
yeah,
personally.
yeah. That's actually not something I've actually thought about. So just, I'm going to say no because I can't think of anything. So
Great. That's
yeah,
good.
no. I'm usually. I'll probably say that's my best. My my best strength is I'm quite adaptable. Um, I seem to be able to adapt quite well, even if I'm like, oh, is that possible? Could I do that? I seem to be able to work it out quite quickly and adapt to it quite quickly. So, yeah, so I'm going to say no. I don't think there is.
That's great. Okay, I'm more admiration coming from me then. That's awesome. Okay, so you've been doing stunts for 5 years at least now. So I'm going to give you an opportunity on microphone here to say because I'm sure that people when they find out you're a stunt person, they ask like, "Oh, what's the coolest stunt you've done? What's the like the most cool memorable thing that you've got to do?" So I'm going to ask you the same question here.
Okay.
Is there something that stands out like that this is like the best stunt day I've ever had or anything along those lines?
There's a few. Um,
Okay, that's good.
there's a couple. I remember the first time I was ever on set and seeing it, everything, all the moving pieces, I blew me away, and that's where I definitely got my love for the industry. That was a special day, and it wasn't anything really that was overly awesome that it was doing on that day, but that will always be a core memory.
And
Um,
which show was that on?
that was on Avatar.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was yeah.
that was really awesome. Um, Stunt wise, I'm gonna say we did have some really cool stunts on Time Bandits. Yeah, I have one in particular that was it was just it was just me doing the shot, and I actually get attacked by a dinosaur, and yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but there was a lot
Okay.
of movement involved and a lot of people on the rigging side that had to be involved, and it was pretty awesome. Um, that was a really good day. I enjoyed that. Another one would be we did another high fall, so it was just we went up in an EWP elevated work platform, and we just jumped off individually into a box rig, which are cardboard boxes. I think we jumped from about 7 or 8 meters high into the box rig, um, and that's always a good adrenaline buzz. So that was another really great day too.
Yeah, as I've gotten older, like I used to be really into doing stuff like that. I told you I was a skateboarder and just as I've gotten older, like my threshold is like lowered a lot of things that like, oh, I could never do that again. I used to like to ride roller coasters. I don't ride roller coasters anymore. I used to love being on the water. I don't like being on the water anymore. That's all kind of changed. Um, has your perception changed? I guess your perception has probably broadened instead of shortened of like, the things that you're capable of.
Yeah, yes and no. Yeah, I definitely like I like a fast paced life, and I like my career like that too. But I also really enjoy living out in the country and having my peace and quiet. I really do like that. And I like my home comforts. Um, yeah, without a doubt. Um, so I would say I like the two extremes. I
Yeah.
don't like the beach, if I'm honest. I hate sand. It gets in everything. Yeah, and
I
I'm a
just
bit
came
OCD. If I've got sand everywhere, it's not a good day for me.
I feel the same way. We went to the beach recently. We went to the beach area. I never actually went to the beach itself. No sand, no surf for me. I stayed on the other side where the water was more like a bay. I like that much better.
Yeah,
But you say like the OCD and the sand, that must have been driving you crazy then having that
yeah,
beard all over your
yeah. We don't
face.
go to the beach often. Um, yeah, and if we do, I find a patch of grass.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you're very busy now. Have you been able to take like a nice vacation like anytime in this year, or have you been working all
No,
year?
no, not really. So we're actually going to go to fly back to the UK at the end of the year. My sister's getting married, which is cool, and we're going to fly all the kids over, and we'll be going on a big family holiday, which is going to be awesome. We're going to go to Disneyland Paris. We're going to do.
Ooh.
We're going to go have some day trip around London. We're going to go to the zoo, Colchester Zoo. Um, yeah, it's going to be a busy 4 weeks. So it's probably not going to be a holiday. It's probably going to be very stressful, but it's going to be fun. Yeah, it's going to be fun. So we're really
Yeah.
looking forward to that. Um, yeah.
And speaking of Paris, we got the Olympics just starting up now. And are you into like any kind of organized team sports at all? I didn't see any team sports on your resume.
No, I used to play basketball when I was younger, and I played a bit of rugby here in New Zealand. Um, but yeah, no, I've not really played many team sports, believe it or not. Like I say, a little bit of basketball and rugby, but boxing pretty much dominated my training and my life for since I was young. Um, you know, um,
I think
yeah,
it's a different mindset from team sports and individual sport. I'm more of an individual sport person myself too. I don't
yeah,
enjoy team sports either playing or watching them. But watching somebody like conquer a goal like a skateboarder, like trying over and over again to get a trick right, and they finally get it done. That speaks to me, and I think it speaks to an individual that is kind of competing with themselves as opposed to competing with somebody else, not trying to win, but trying to, I guess, just I don't know. You kind of like you set a goal for yourself, and even though you're not like winning, you still have achieved that goal.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
That
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
a
yeah.
question.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. My son's getting into basketball at the moment, and he's quite enjoying it. So I'm trying to, push him into. He's playing for the school, our local school. And I'm trying to, just trying to persuade him to continue that because he's really enjoying it, and it's so important, it's so vital to be able to learn, to be able to work in a team. It's a necessity for life. You can't.
That's true.
I'm definitely a guy who likes to do things on my own, but you can't go through life like that. So it's definitely fundamental to be able to work and operate in part of a team. So um, yeah,
I'm interviewing you, but I will speak to that too. Because I have two children myself, and none of us are really into teams. I was never into team sports, and none of my kids are into team sports either. but it was very important to get them involved in something where there were other children around, where there were other like adult mentors around. And so for us, my daughter chose roller skating. That's what she was into, like competitive roller skating, like you would see like figure skating, like ice skating kind of thing,
Yeah,
except it's on roller skates. So in that situation, she's not on a team and she's not really competing. She is competing against other people who are doing their routines, but it's just her out there doing her routine by herself. And even though she doesn't enjoy team sports, like just being in that kind of environment where you're learning a skill along with other kids that are also learning the same skill, it's very important.
yeah, yeah,
My son was never into team sports, but we were involved in the Boy Scouts of America. So that got him involved in a bunch of different things with a bunch of different kids that also were not into team sports. So
yeah,
they all kind of had that thing in common. So that's what I'm trying to say is even if a kid is not necessarily geared towards playing with other kids or being on a team, getting them involved in some sort of extracurricular where they're around other kids who are doing a similar thing. It's very important in child rearing, I think.
yeah. 100% agree. I'm all about trying to get onto the school campus when the
Yeah.
school camps are on. We do some really cool stuff here. We've got a small Whare Papa South school, quite a rural school. It fluctuates between 30 to 50 kids in the whole
Oh, neat.
school.
I
It's
like that.
incredible. It's a very hands-on school. Teachers are great. The school board's amazing, and we take them out into the bush and learn basic skills. Orienteering and how to start a fire, all that kind of thing. And then the next year they'll go and do something completely different, but learning all these essential skills and working as a team. I'm all about it. I love it. I think it's great. So I always try to make sure I try and be a part of that, which is really cool. But yeah, we're real lucky where we live. We have a really good community, and a really good school, and everyone knows each other and helps each other. It's quite a special thing.
Nice. Okay. I'm going to gear us back towards some Time Bandit talk
Yeah,
here.
cool. So
So let's say that while y'all were preparing for Time Bandits
yeah,
before the filming started,
yeah.
um, Taika and Jermaine, let's pretend they come up to you and they're like, "We need an idea for where the Time Bandits can go. What do you think would be the best place the Time Bandits could visit?" And you were able to write a script. Um,
Oh,
where would you like to see the Time Bandits go and mess with time?
that's very Cowboys and Indians.
Aha. Okay. So like I guess you're thinking like America circa like 17, 1800 kind of
Yeah,
thing.
17, 1800s. Yeah, I mean, wouldn't Bittelig look great with a cowboy hat on?
I feel sorry for the horse he's riding because
Yeah,
and
well,
you as well. Y'all are big
yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I've seen him with a cowboy hat. He was in the movie Heavy Trip. He was wearing a black cowboy hat the
Oh,
whole
that's right. He
time.
was. He had his belt, that big belt buckle. Yeah, I have seen that movie. Yeah, yeah, it was
Is it
great.
because of the horses? Is that what's leading you over to the Cowboys and Indians because they're all riding horses?
I just love anything to do with cowboys. Yeah, my bar is a Western bar. It is. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay.
very Western themed. So yeah, so I reckon there'd be some cool sets, some saloon bars. I'd be all for it. So you'd be looking for me. I'd be in the set in the saloon. What about yourself, Steve?
Uh I'm simple. I'm American too. So I would like to be one of the first people to arrive to to Ellis Island, New York, like when they were first allowing, foreigners to come and
Yeah,
pick up stakes in America.
yeah,
And like I've seen so many stories and read so many books about those individuals get off the boat at that time and there's people there that are like, "Hey, I'm building a building over here, I need help. Hey, we have like some animals over here, we need help with this." And so like you get off the boat and there's like all these job opportunities, there's land you can buy. That's what I would love to do, is go back in time to like the earliest time of America before it was settled and just be part of that.
yeah.
That's my
Cool.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well,
what's
well, we
that?
do. Yeah, there are. You might like one of the episodes then.
I'm loving hearing this. I'm getting all these spoilers talking to y'all. This is awesome. So I get stuff to look forward to. I love it.
There's something to look forward to for you.
So
Yeah.
if you were a time bandit, not like writing the script. So
Yeah.
if you were actually a time bandit, I guess it would be the same answer.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say the same.
All right.
Yeah, that was good. Um, we back to the time travel thing you were saying. A funny story
Yeah.
that comes to mind. Um, where we worked on this thing called the Mobase, which was a big platform that was hydraulic and driven, and it would move us around. And in the first episode, when Bittelig pushes the wall over and we all jump down,
Hmm.
that's us stunties that do the jump out um, down the slide, and then it goes onto the Mobase. But that was actually the first time we also, all our stunt doubles met the actors. Was on the Mobase, and we were all rigged on for it to move up around, and all the actors came in and were watching from the side, and that was actually the first time that we met all the actors, which was really cool. And I think I just introduced myself to Rune, and one of the first things that happened was he asked to borrow my socks
Okay. Why?
because up on the, which was hilarious, and it stuck with me because the actors were going to have a go on the Mobase and sit down and get rigged in and have a feel of it, how it was, and it worked better to have socks on. And I think he was
Okay.
wearing jandals or something like that, and
Okay.
I had a spare pair of socks anyway. So,
Okay.
um,
Good. Good.
yeah,
Good.
yeah, I lent Rune my spare pair of socks, and that was the first time I met Rune. Yeah.
Oh, so his first impression of you is you're a giving individual who's giving
Well, I
gifts
gave him my
out.
socks, man. Come on. I wasn't going to give him my undies.
Yeah, I'm
That's a
glad you
whole
didn't
different
ask for
story.
that. I don't think I would ever ask anybody if I could borrow their socks. That seems
Yeah,
weird,
yeah,
except
yeah,
for like
yeah.
my family members.
I happened to have a spare pair in my bag, and yeah, I was like, yeah, yeah, take my socks, man. All good. That's the Kiwi life. It's yeah, yeah. We've got something. We'll help people out.
Did you get them back?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, good. I was like, if you're out of a pair of socks,
They were
you need
good
to
New
give them a
Zealand
call.
wool, good New Zealand wool socks. I was definitely getting them back.
Okay, right on. Um, I want to give you an opportunity, I suppose. Did you have any? Is there anything that we
Yeah.
haven't gone over that you think would be beneficial?
No, I do want to do just go over the and do a big shout out to the rigging team on Time Bandits. They did an incredible job, and it's thanks to them that we all came out without any injuries and safe. There was a lot of real technical rigging on that job for a lot of the stunts that we were doing. Um, and those guys, yeah, did incredible and keeping us safe too. Um, they did an amazing job, and I hope you guys will enjoy everything that you
Yeah,
see. But a lot of it was down to their knowledge and and their precision on the job. So a big shout out to those guys, and also to Zoe Bell and Clint and Dana and Shan. They were stunt coordinators, assistant stunt coordinators, stunt department. Incredible. We had such an incredible team on that job. Um,
seems like
whether,
it.
if I'm honest, whether Time Bandits was ever a success or not, that was honestly incredible. It was it was a really good team. And when you work with people like that, it just takes it to another level. You know. Um, so a big shout out to those guys. It was really great.
So from my perspective, I was a big Time Bandits movie fan as a kid growing up. It was my favorite movie. And so I'm in my 50s. So when they announced the TV show coming out, I was very excited, but there was a lot of people who were my age who were not, who didn't like the idea of Time Bandits getting remade
Yeah,
and kind of poo-pooed the whole idea and like this
yeah,
is gonna suck. My perspective was always like, well, even if it does suck, it gave a lot of people an opportunity for employment. It helped people's careers. and it's getting these actors' names out there. So like it's great on their resume, and it's a big project name, Time Bandits.
Yeah,
I can't I don't fathom the negativity around that personally, but it is out there. Um,
yep, yep. I'm
did you?
definitely aware of it. I've read a lot of comments, negative comments online, and I think it's the old school fans of the older
Yeah,
generation. But I don't think that's what Jermaine and Taika are targeting here. It's the younger, newer generation. Everything's different. Times
exactly.
have changed, um, and you know, like I said, my kids watched both episodes back to back, and they're at 2 and 4. My girls, and they really enjoyed it. They were laughing. They enjoyed it. Um,
Awesome.
and
I
I
love
did
that.
too. I thought it was great. I laughed multiple times throughout of it.
I
So
loved it too. I was laughing during the funny parts. I was worried during some of the scenes. I was,
yeah,
because I knew that I would be talking to yourself and Greta, and so I was like worried that I was going to be seeing like, oh no, I hope I don't watch anybody get hurt or see anything I shouldn't be seeing here. It was exciting. I really enjoyed it, and I asked my daughter is 18. She's my youngest.
yeah,
So I asked her to watch it as well, which I haven't gotten her report yet from it. So I hope that that's what I'm hoping is that younger kids will be enjoying this. It's not for older
yeah,
guys like me.
yeah.
Um, Even though, I'm just beside myself that this project is exists. I'm on board 100%.
But
So
you
you
would watch.
always got me.
Older people will watch it if their kids enjoy it, and if you know.
Yes.
I watch My Little Pony, not because I want to, but my kids do. But it's on the TV, so
Exactly.
I'll sit there and watch
Yep.
it. Now I'm vested in the Little Ponies.
Yes.
It's not something
Who's
I'm proud of, but
who's your favorite?
the pink one.
The pink one, is that Pinkie Pie?
I don't know names, man. Come on.
Come on.
I've got to save some dignity. But it's a family orientated show.
Yes.
Kids enjoy it, adults enjoy it. It's a very family orientated thing, which is cool because some of my greatest memories was putting on a family movie, and just all sitting on the couch and watching it. So it's that kind of show, which
Yeah.
is really neat.
Yeah. I was really excited to see Jermaine dressed up as evil and like
Yeah,
the dark skull oriented
yeah,
costuming. It was good
yeah.
stuff. And that's the first episode. Everybody's seen the first episode by now. I'm not spoiling anything. Some people were really upset that the Time Bandits would be like a lesser version of, but we saw a guy get crushed by a rock and die on the spot. So
That
that
was
should
one of our
make.
stunt team actually. That was
Oh, there you go.
yeah, he was our key rigger. Um, that was actually one of our stunt team that got squished there.
So we got death. That's great. There's people dying, so
Yeah,
we can be happy about that, right?
yeah,
And that, yeah, another question I had is like you were talking about the rigging crew and
yeah,
what they do. Are those guys also, well, I guess there's ladies too. Are they also stunt performers like yourself and they just kind
yep,
of trade off different jobs?
yep, 100%. Yep, yep. They're stunt performers as well. And when there's no performing work, they go into the rigging side of things. And yeah,
Okay.
so that's gives them a whole other side of it too, which is great. Um, and it gives you a really good understanding too. Knowing about the rigging, being in the harness. So it's definitely good to know at least the basics. Um, have an understanding anyway. But yeah, these guys are incredible. Yeah, they were really really impressive. It was amazing.
That answers a question like if a person gets too old to actually, or not too old, you know what I mean? They're
Yeah,
unable to
yeah,
like do
yeah.
stunts.
Injuries or they go into stunt rigging. Yeah, yeah, and it makes it.
That's
I'd say it probably makes a better rigger being having been performed for years.
I would think so.
Yeah, so there's definitely that side of it too. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, in a couple days, I'm going to be talking to Greta Vanderbrink. I'm not sure if
yeah,
I'm saying her
Vanderbrink.
name
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah.
Did you have any questions I could ask her or any situations you guys came upon during Time Bandits?
No, just say to her, why wouldn't you?
Okay, I'm writing it down right now.
Why wouldn't you?
That's like my number one. I was asking you that question. What are some things you wouldn't do? And there was nothing there. So I'm going to ask her, why wouldn't you? And see what she says to
Just
that.
say, why wouldn't you? And
I
then go,
will.
who's your father?
Oh, okay.
It's
And
yeah. She'll know exactly what I'm saying.
all right, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, that was cool. That's
Well,
awesome. And yeah, it was awesome to watch Rune's interview with you. That was really cool. Um, yeah, he's an awesome dude, and it was such a privilege and an honour to have worked with him and doubled with him. He's the nicest person. He's a great actor, but he's an even nicer person. You know, he's just a real stand-up guy. So it was a real honour to work with him. And yeah, you know, hopefully I'll get to work with him again in the future, which would be awesome. But yeah, he's a real awesome guy. Real awesome guy.
yeah, I mean, you're going to be watching yourself in a couple of weeks being interviewed by me, and so I hope you enjoy that one as much as you enjoyed Renee's interview because I think
Yeah,
this one's
yeah.
going just as great.
Yeah, awesome. It's always hard to watch yourself, though, isn't it? Yeah, that's why I don't branch into the acting side of things. Is but
I have to. I got to edit this, so I have to watch us.
brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, no, it's been. Yeah, I'm glad. Glad I got to jump on the show with you.
Me too. Like
Great.
this show, Time Bandits. Like we were saying, worst case scenario is I've met some really great, interesting people, such as yourself, and it seems like every individual that I've reached out to on the show has gotten back to me, including like Lisa Kudrow. It's just a really, it seems like just a group of, I don't want to say normal people because that sounds weird to say normal, but I mean, y'all are all very down to earth and talkative and personable, and I
Yeah,
really appreciate that. It's been a pleasure, like, being able to, like, text back and forth with you this past couple weeks, and you're always responsive, and it's just shocking to me, a regular guy in America, that you guys are
yeah.
so open about this. I
That's
love it.
awesome. Yeah, I think there's just a lot of just a lot of love there for the
Yes.
project, and um, yeah, I think everyone's just got so many good memories about the show and working on it, and just the people we work with, and everyone's just happy to talk about it, and everyone's happy to share experiences, and why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? Here we go again, Greta. Come
Might
on.
as well just give it to who's your father?
All right, man. Any last thoughts for us or for our listeners before we wrap it up here, Brandon?
Yeah, no, I think that's it. Yeah, no, shout out to yeah, all the crew, the cast, stunts. It was an honour, it
Absolutely.
was a pleasure, and yeah, I hope everyone enjoys it. And thanks to you, Steve, for spreading the word of Time Bandits too. That's really awesome. And yeah, hopefully we can prove the old school fans wrong that there is still a lot of time travel to do.
I hope so too. Like I have a group on Facebook and I'm getting new people like requesting to join the group every day, which means that there's people watching the show and that are interested in joining groups and learning more about it. And people are listening to this podcast, which tells me like they're not listening to me, they're listening to the people, my guests, and the Time Bandits crew. And I'm getting some good feedback. So this is very wonderful. I'm gonna wrap it up and say that, like, Time Bandits on Apple TV. If you haven't already been watching it, I don't know why you're listening to this. You you need to be watching Time Bandits, individuals, and very, very much a pleasure to be talking to you, Brandon, from New Zealand. Um, that is all, my friend. I thank you very much for joining the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and yeah, really appreciate it.
Yes, and when I say goodbye, don't hang up. So I'm going to say to you and to all our listeners out there, I hope you always find water and shade and shoes. Goodbye, Brandon.
Goodbye.